Hi, this is Arvinder Gujral, and welcome to my Happy Sales Masterclass. So at Twitter, I'm the Managing Director for Southeast Asia, which essentially means I am the GM equivalent of the region. Apart from revenue, I look after almost every other function, dotted line, from marketing, policy, HR, legal, taxation. I work with almost every team just to make sure that we have a common voice and a common strategy for Southeast Asia. So Twitter was a very serendipitous outing for me. I mean, I actually never pursued them. I consider myself lucky that they chased me and I said no to them. So this was a classic Bollywood love story, which has had a happy ending. So I was the first employee for Twitter in India in 2013, and I set up the India ops for them. I was leading partnerships for Twitter for Asia Pacific for many years. And about 3 years ago, I moved to Singapore to be the managing director for Southeast Asia. The very simplistic way of looking at a happy sales team versus any other sales team is, who has the ownership within that team? And are the people and almost every member of the team a driver or a participant? Now, what do I mean by that? If you look at any normal sales organization, there is a lead of the team who he or she will define the target and the quota for the sales team or the KPIs, and then the team has to go out and achieve it. And I think the difference is, yes, there's always a revenue number that every sales team is measured, and that's across the board. But a sales team are measured more than beyond a revenue number. The individual contributors in the team have ownership of that revenue number, right? So when we discuss when we break it apart from team to sub-teams to individual contributors, what is the ownership structure, and do these individuals feel ownership, and do they feel drivers of their book of business? So the way I always envision is, if an IC in a sales team feels that they are the CEO of their book of business, that is a happy sales team. No sales team works in isolation. You always are reliant on cross-functional team members, cross-functional partners, what we call XFNs. And if you are not a team that is a magnet to other cross-functional teams to align with you, you will always find it a struggle to meet whatever objectives that you are doing as a sales team. So the happiest sales team is when not only the ICs inside the sales team are feeling that they are the business drivers, but the cross-functionals that are around supporting you to achieve your objective are similarly aligned and have the same enthusiasm and ambition that the sales team has. So I think that aligning of the arrows before the quarter or the year begins, the playbook has to define that this is the team goal, and the team does not mean sales team. Team means the overall team that is helping the sales team achieve its objective. This work hard, play hard culture may be a thing of the past for me. At least it could be a thing of the 1970s and 80s in the Industrial Revolution. Most salespeople in the world are actually doing concept sales, which means you're selling your mind, your intelligence in the pitch. You're not saying here, touch the product, feel it, if you like it, buy it, if you don't like it, don't buy it, which is the vacuum sales. If you're actually thinking of rewarding people for the equity of the mental equity that they bring to the table, you can't just say work hard and play hard. We're no longer machines that you just need to log in more hours. You cannot measure success of someone by these old age metrics that we used to have. Every sales team wants to grow. So what is growth for you? Is it pure dollar number of the sales? Is it a number of clients that you got? Is it the number of clients who moved up a tier? And more importantly, what is the external opportunity that you're tying to growth? Number two, what does the team stand for? That rallying cry is extremely important to unify just not the team, but the cross-functional team. And at Twitter, we create hashtags for every topic. So I actually create a hashtag every year. It is just to unify and just bring the muscle memory back every time you sway away from your goal. Number three, every team has a growth equation, but the growth equation has to be connected to the individual contributors. You can't have a growth equation at a macro leadership level, right? So what is the role? That's when the ICs feel part of the team and they feel part of the growth of the team. Number four, very important to create milestones. You can't say in 5 years we'll be doing this. In the long run, we're all dead, right? Nobody is going to stick around in the company for 5 years. You have to create very short-term goals that people can identify with and feel it is in their grasp to achieve. And finally, you need to define what is the high-performing team. And when I say you, it does not mean the team lead. It means everyone in the team from top to the bottom have to come together, and which we do every year. While Twitter does its own formal global surveys of feedback, and they touch many facets of an organization and of the leaders, I actually do my own personal feedback. So I send an anonymized Google Forms to my team. What I do is I make sure I close the loop. And I do this 2 or 3 times a year. My team gives me the feedback. I collate it all. I analyze it. Then I do a call with my entire team and I show the entire feedback back to them. But make sure, for me, the most important thing is transparency and anonymity. Most leaders forget. They take feedback and they, digest it and nothing happens. If you're giving feedback, you have to give the good and the bad. Because without context, a negative feedback can become a personal attack. This was what we were trying to achieve. Within that, this is what happened, and this is what you could have done better. Now that helps the person to take that feedback as a form of improvement, rather than saying you have not done this as well as you could. When you are planning, assume massive constraint and then see what happens and start evolving and iterate your plan as and when new opportunities open up and new resources are provided to you. The second one is patience is key. Depending on how your company is structured, you could be living by month or by quarter. Sales people have a tendency to divide their life by that period of time. If you're taking a call with a client or a partnership opportunity in a sales environment, it's better to lose the revenue or the opportunity today as long as you have a long-term view of that book of business that you're trying to nurture. I think so keeping that, having a patient point of view and having a long-term point of view on your book is important.